downloaded these 4 files. They're in my download folder. I've unpacked the data that was zipped, and now I'm splitting the data out into 2 folders. So in this one, I got the store source files, the home sales. Oops, I think I messed up. I want store manager and source files in 1 folder. And then I want home sales and home listings in the other folder. Okay, so this is in 1 folder. And I'll call this folder Realtor. Whoop. I'll rename this folder Realtor or Real Estate. And then we'll name this one Sales Data. Okay. Everybody have that? So in the real estate file, you have home listings and home sales. And in the sales folder, you have, oh, you don't need home sales. You need the store source files, and then you need the store managers file. Okay. So the first dashboard we're going to build, I think I already opened it, right? Yeah. The first one we're going to do is we're going to do the store managers and the store source files. Okay. And all you do is you're basically going to combine the data set. In this one, we're going to do a stack. Power BI is going to stack the state data tables on top of each other. And it does it automatically. Remember in Access where you had to import things one at a time? Right? Remember that? You had to import a file, and then you had to do some stuff, and then you had to import a table. Then you had to import a table and do some stuff. Then you had to import another table, right? It took a long time. Power BI Desktop is so much faster. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to open up Power BI Desktop. Oh, I got it right here. Now, if you're on Westminster Anywhere, you have to do this in Westminster Anywhere. Well, if you don't have Power BI Desktop installed on your computer, you have to do this in Westminster Anywhere or the CFA. Hopefully you have Power BI Desktop installed. If you're doing this on the Westminster Anywhere, you'd want to move these files to your H drive. Because if you leave them in your download folder on the Westminster Anywhere, they might be deleted when you close out. Okay, so this is Power BI Desktop right here, right? What do we need to do? We need to get data, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get data from an Excel file. And notice you can get it from an SQL server. So if you have Microsoft's SQL Management Server Studio, you can get it from that. Or you can enter it manually, or you can get it from all these choices. And there's even more choices. So we can actually import that Access database. We can actually import the Access database too. So we can import text, JSON files, a folder with Excel files in it. We can import an Access database, an SQL Server database. We can import a MySQL database, right? I don't see, is there an SQLite? There's a lot of choices, isn't there?
I mean, SQLite would really just be the flat file, right?
Well, well, the SQL databases are .db folder, a .db file. So if you're gonna, I was hoping you could import the database that we import all, and then we did all those Excel imports, and then as tables, and then like an SQLite, we only had to click on one of them in the database, and they all were brought in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do Excel. And I have it in the download folder. If you're on Westminster Anywhere, you want to be in the H drive, right? And then I got my real estate or my sales data. I'm going to use the sales data first, right? And I'm just going to click on Store Managers. And this is opened up in what's called Power Query Editor. There's a lot of AI built into Power BI Desktop. That's why it takes a long time to open. And sometimes it takes a while to do things because it's a massive program. It's got a lot of AI built into it. We're going to click on Transform Data down here. We clicked on Managers, right? These are our store managers by zip code, right? So we're going to transform data. And it opens it up in Power Query Editor, right? There's the Power BI Desktop, right? Here's the Power BI Desktop, and here's the Power Query Editor. They're two different things, correct? Now, we don't want zip codes as whole numbers, do we? Why don't we want zip codes as whole numbers? Are zip codes numbers or are they names?
Names.
They're names of places, right? I live in 84115 zip code. That 84115 has no numerical properties other than 85 zip codes are Utah zip codes, right? But the number, you can't take the mean of zip codes. The mean of zip codes means nothing. And if you convert them to text by clicking on that 1, 2, 3, what the heck's going on here? Huh. Whoa. Here, I'll do this. Change data type. That's weird. That's the first. I'll change it to text. Now, because you're changing the text and it's a 5, and all of them are 5-digit numbers, the length of each of these strings, these are strings of characters now, right? They're strings of characters. And each one has 5 characters in it, and each of the characters is a number. So Excel's going to, or Power BI Desktop is going to assume that when you convert it to a zip code, a string or a text data type, that these are zip codes, right? So Excel's like, all right, max length is 5, min length of the strings is 5, and they're all numbers in those strings, and their data type is string or text. Those must be zip codes, right? So Excel knows these are zip codes now. Before, it wouldn't have assumed they were zip codes. Okay, we're done manipulating this table, right? That one's fine, and that one's fine now. Now we need to get more data. So now we're going to click on more in the Power Query Editor. We're going to click on more data. And it takes a while. And this time we're going to click on folder. These are our sales number source files. Right, these are our source files. We're going to connect. And then we need to browse. We're going to browse to, I'm going to browse to the download folder. And it's in sales data. And then notice there was an arrow there, right? See that there's an arrow there, but there's no arrow here. This is a terminal folder. It's like a terminal degree. There's no more folders in here, right? So you can double click or hit OK. And there's the path, right? There's the path. And you just click OK. And then you want to click transform data. Okay, transform data. Okay, and notice there's a table for Arizona, a table for California, a table for Nevada, all the way down to Washington. Why are your sales split up by state, by the way? Why would sales be split up by state? Are the
different managers?
Well, what about the state laws and tax rules? Right. So the state, you got all your stores within the state dumping their sales data into these files every night. So at the end of business every night, these files get longer and longer and longer, right? You all got that? They're just going to get longer and longer and longer. And in the morning, if you want to update your dashboard that we're going to build today, you can click refresh and it'll update the dashboard. So these files are going to get longer and longer and longer. I wonder why Arizona is a CSV. Maybe that's why I was having trouble in class. Let's open this one up and save it as a XLSX file. I noticed that in the table just now, and I'm like, what is going on there? Okay, so I'm gonna click enable editing. And then I'm gonna save it as, oh, it is. So I think it just has a .csv at the end. Okay, that's weird. It was a CSV file. I thought maybe I saved it as Arizona.csv.xlsx. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete that CSV file. Okay, now they're all Excel files, right? If we come up here and we click refresh, it changes it. See that? So when these files get longer, when the day's sales are dumped into them, and you click refresh in the PowerBI Desktop, these files here will get longer, right? So we're essentially building the data. We're essentially completing the data architecture, right? All the stores in Arizona are dumping into the Arizona file, right? Every night at the end of business. And so we're connecting to those source files. So when we click refresh, our Power BI desktop is going to be filled with fresh new data and the old data that we had there the previous day, right? Does everybody understand that? So
real quick, so if we built this out and it had the CSV file, if we save it as XLSX and delete the CSV file, if we just refresh, it should pull in that new file because we're looking at the folder, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. This is pointing to the folder. And in that folder, you don't want anything else, right? If somebody at your business does this, now you got some junk in there, don't you? See that? So you want to have this folder protected, right? You want to protect this folder so nobody can save some junk in there. But we can filter that junk out right here. See? We can filter out. Y'all see that? We can say only XLSX files. Boom. So when people save junk in there, it's not going to import the junk. And that junk would pollute our dashboard, right? It'd pollute our dashboard. And now I got all the files, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a column. So we're going to click on column and then custom column. And each of the worksheets in these files is an Excel object. So we're going to call it get Excel objects. This part right here that we're doing, if you're doing this in Tableau and you have 6 source files and you have a managers table, you have to do all this outside of Tableau because Tableau will only allow you to import a table. So you would have to do all the data architecture outside, and you would set up an Excel table that combines these 6 files and the managers table.
You can do it in
Power BI Desktop better.
You can do it in Tableau, but it's not performant. Yeah.
I tried bringing in multiple tables, and I was like, all right, I can't do that. So let me just do all the architecture in Excel, right?
Yeah, you can do it, but Tableau loads horrendously slow.
Yeah. So I found it easier to create a table structure in an Excel file that imported, like each worksheet would import the source file, and then I'd have one worksheet that would put it all together. And the manager. So the manager's table was sucked into this Excel file in a worksheet. All the state files were sucked into each having their own worksheet. And there was one worksheet that brought it all together using like VLOOKUPs and whatnot, right? It's been a while since I did it. And then I used that one table in the Excel file to feed the Tableau. And that seemed to work really well. Okay, so right now you want to type Excel. Whoop, where'd it go? There we go. Excel dot, and you want to look for workbook. You want to click on Excel workbook. What the heck happened to it? Man, something's going on here. I guess maybe it doesn't like my mouse. Okay, and then parentheses. Okay, and you need binary files, right? Workbook as binary, and these are binary files, right? So then you click on content. Content. See the content right there? The content are the binary tables, right? Files. And then you have to type comma true. Okay. And if you do it right, these are all the available columns, right? You could have deleted all the columns, but we're gonna end up deleting them anyway, right? We'll end up deleting them anyway, including the content. We're not deleting them, removing them from view. So you got Excel.workbook, parentheses, content, dot, or comma true, right? And then hit OK. And there I got my Excel objects, so I can get rid of all these others. And I'll show you, you can hold down the control button and you can highlight all of them at the same time. And remove columns. You're not really removing them, you're just hiding them. I do need the name. So I'm going to click name and data, right? Name and data. Okay, so what this is going to do, that was a good catch. If we don't do the name here, then each row isn't going to get a state name, right? So having the name column here along with the data table means it's going to create a new column called name, where every row in the Arizona table will have a Arizona value in the first column, right? And then you click expand and you're good to go here. Cool, right? So you have the cost of goods sold, revenue discount, amount of sale, units, payment type, product type, or name of product, store zip code, date, and name. See that? So if you sort by name, descending, you'll see that Washington's on top, right? And then California, whatnot's in between, right? Descending, ascending. Okay, so Arizona's on top, right? Now we want to change the data types. Cost of goods sold is a dollar fixed decimal. Revenue discount is a percentage. Amount of sale is a dollar amount.
Oh, I missed. How did you get to that?
What's that?
How did you get to expand it?
Oh, let me go back. I'll go back in time, so I can go back in time. Okay, so this is my expand Excel objects, right? I want to keep name and data, right? So you want to delete all of the columns. So if you have other columns other than name and data, delete the other columns.
Yep.
Or click and hold down the control button. And then if you have name and data highlighted, you can remove the other columns, right? You remove the other columns. Okay. Then all you do is you click the little two arrows here. And this stacks them. It stacks all the state tables and creates a new first column with the name of the worksheet inserted into each row of a given table, right? and hit OK. There you go. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just go through and make sure our data types are right. This should be text. The date should be date. See that? A calendar right there. Now my mouse is working, so I had to close out. PowerBI Desktop. My mouse is working now. And store zip code, what should it be again? For PowerBI to consider a geographic region of the United States, what should we change it to?
Text.
Text, right? And then product type should be text or product name. Then payment type should be text. Units should be whole numbers. Amount of sale should be dollars, fixed decimal. Revenue discount should be percentage. And then cost of goods sold should be dollars. Okay. Now there's one more thing I want to do. If our amount of sales $4.95 and we get 0% off, what's the net? What's the net here?
$4.95.
$4.95. What's the net here, roughly? If this is 20 and this is 10% off, what would be the net?
It's 18.
18. So what we have to do is we have to multiply the 10% by the amount of sale and then subtract that percentage from the amount of sale, right? Or we do what? We multiply the amount of sale times 1 minus the revenue discount, right? Y'all see that? We're gonna multiply this column by 1 minus the revenue discount. That'll have no effect on this, but it'll discount that appropriately, right? So we're gonna add a column, and it's gonna be called a custom column. And we're gonna call this custom column net revenue, revenue net of the discount. Can you turn the light, please? Can you turn the light? Okay, thank you. I'm in my son's room at home. It's the only place I can be without the triplets jumping on me because we can lock the door. Okay, so the net revenue is found by taking the amount of sale, multiplying it by what? Whoop. 1 minus what? The revenue discount, right? Y'all see that? So this kind of has an SQL feel, doesn't it? This kind of has an SQL feel, right? PowerBI Desktop is an SQL system. But what's the problem with this? We want to round off the pennies, right? We're not like Richard Pryor's character in Superman, right? Where he harvested off the fractions of the penny, which inspired the guys in Office Space to do the same thing at Inintech, right? Have you guys seen Inintech?
Office Space is in my top 3 favorite movies.
Office Space, yeah, Office Space, yeah.
Yeah. Why should I change my name? He's the one that sucks.
So we want to round off all the pennies, right? We're going to round them off to 2 decimal places. We're going to put a comma 2 here. At this point, it kind of feels like Excel, right? Kind of feels like Excel. Now, remember in Python, to round, we had to do numpy mp.round, right? In Power BI Desktop, we have to do number dot round. Okay, number dot round.
I typed in just round and it says no syntax errors.
Okay, maybe it
I was
works.
just curious.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see if it works, and then we can go simpler, right? All right, everybody got that? And does yours say 1782 in the second row?
No, now it says there was an error.
Yeah. So all you gotta do is double click on added column and then add the dot number or number dot in front of round. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can go back in time. It's really cool. You can go back in time and check things out, right? Now we want to change that to dollars, right? And then we don't need revenue discount anymore. We're going to remove it. And we don't need amount of sale. I mean, you can keep them if you want. So we have net revenue, we have cost of goods sold, we have units. So this difference is our gross margin, right? One thing we don't have is the overhead. So we can't calculate profit, but we can calculate net or gross margin, right? We can calculate gross margin by taking this difference. Let me know what overhead refers to and cost of goods sold, why those two expenses are broken out.
Fixed versus variable.
Well, the cost of goods sold is how much it costs you to get the stuff into your warehouse, right? Once your raw material or your inventory is in the warehouse, then you have lights in the overhead. You have air conditioning coming from the overhead. You have heating coming from the overhead. You have staff under the overhead. So the cost of goods sold is the stuff, how much it costs you to get it, right, into your warehouses. The overhead is all the expenses that are accrued while it's in your warehouses and stores, right? That's why they call it overhead. And we don't have that, right? Overhead is going to be, you could maybe overhead is at a store level, or maybe I'm not sure how they would do it by state. I'm not a tax accountant, and my brothers do my taxes for me. That's why I started a business with them. They do all the taxes for me. All right, now we can go ahead and go to click home and close and apply. Okay, and that'll fix all the changes. Everybody keeping up with me?
Barely.
Really?
Mine's a little slower than yours, so I'm like,
Yeah, you have
okay.
Westminster Anywhere, right?
No, I downloaded it.
Oh, okay, good.
Hal, I did find that the instructions for the example 2, it did have us remove columns that we were supposed to keep. I think there was like slight wording difference in the instructions. It was like
Okay.
the ones you're supposed to keep, it said to
Yeah.
remove. And I was like, we just created a custom column and now I'm removing it.
Yeah, I kind of busted that out real quick, so I probably made some editing errors like I usually do.
But the screenshot at the end helps.
Well, it makes sure that your brain's. Maybe I did it on purpose. If you figured out.
It was a test.
It's a test. I was making sure you're paying attention. Your brain is engaged, right?
I barely was.
It was designed that way.
Awesome.
Okay, so now if you click on the model, this is going to look like Access, doesn't it? See that? Remember in Access where you created the model in relationships? So now all we got to do is connect zip codes to zip codes. See that? So this feels like SQL, Access, right? Now, if you click on the yellow, it'll show you the connection that we're on zip code to zip code, right? Pretty slick, right? Pretty slick. That's it for the model for this one. Now remember, here we've stacked, right? In the next one, we're gonna make the tables wider, right? This makes doing this right here. You have the Arizona, so I'll show you. In the managers table, we added a column, right? Oops, sorry. Whoops. Source files. So in the California Excel file, we just have these columns, right? But when we stack California on top of Arizona, we added a column, right? So stacking them made it wider by one column with the state, right? By the way, we should probably change that to state. Let's do this. We'll rename, where's state at?
It's called name. That's what you want to change.
Okay, so we'll rename it state. There we go.
So do you drag the fields into?
Over here?
Because yeah,
you click and hold down zip code and you drop it on zip code.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was in the wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Now the model section here.
I thought we had a like drag and drop like we did in Access, but I was just on the I wasn't on the pedigree icon, so that's what happened.
Okay. So just to Make sure everybody's got it.
Oh, I have one that's not. Oh,
You
okay.
have the manager's table and the store source.
Yeah, okay, it was just slow at connecting them, I guess.
So you want to click on that model, right? And then you want to drag zip code onto zip code, right? And then you can double check to make sure you connected them right. You got it?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. And then in the table section, you want to rename, you want to click on the word name and then rename it state. Okay, just rename it state. Okay, and that column should now be called state. And we can sort it ascending, right? See that? Arizona. Okay, so we have the net revenue, we have the cost of goods sold, we have the units, payment type, product type, store zip code, date, and state. Okay, now we have two types of customers. We have wholesale customers and we got retail customers. What's the difference between a wholesale customer and a retail customer?
Price they pay.
Yeah, they don't have to pay sales tax, right? They don't have to pay sales tax if it's a sales tax state because they have a final consumer. Intermediate goods are not taxed with sales tax, right? So at Costco, if I'm a restaurant and I go and buy big cans of nacho cheese because I have a bar, and I open the cans at night and I put the can in a nacho cheese, well, in basically a crock pot, and I warm up the nacho cheese and I put the lid on it. When I sell those nachos, then I charge sales tax. But when I buy it from Costco, I don't pay sales tax, right? Now, if I'm a customer and I go into Walmart, if I go into and I've bought a can of nacho cheese before because we used to go to the drive-in a lot with the kids. It's the only place we could take the kids and go to the movies, right? So I'd buy a big can of nacho cheese from Costco, and then we use it all summer long, right? But about halfway through the season, it molded over. So
You got to freeze half of it.
yeah.
You get
What we did.
the crusty sides on the inside of the can.
And I put a coffee can plastic lid on it, so it was actually pretty cool, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Botulism.
But one day I opened it up and it's
Petri
got
dish.
holes thrown in it, right? But I had to pay sales tax on it, but the restaurant didn't have to, right? So we're going to create a new measure or a new column. We're going to create a new column, and this column is going to be called type of sale. And then we're going to type if. And then we want the units. You can just type units, and you can just click on source files units. So this is the table, and that's the column in the table, right? If that is less than 6, then we're going to call it retail, a retail sale. Otherwise, it's going to be called a wholesale. A wholesale sale. All right, we sold it wholesale without sales tax if there's a tax in it. That's what you want to type right there. Okay. Type of sale equal if store source files brackets units less than 6, then retail, otherwise wholesale, right? And we hit enter, they're going to subset current columns. So we're not going to create new columns, we're going to create new measures that make this a subset. So what you want to do is you want to go to table tools and click new up here at table tools, click new measure. And our first new measure is going to be total revenue. And what this is going to do is going to sum up net revenue based on some subsetting that Power BI will do. Type total revenue equal and then type sum. And this is why you don't give it a new column, right? This is why you don't give it a new column. Type net, and then you can click on store source files bracket net revenue. Now in SQL, this would be a dot right here, right? There'd be a dot here, right? There'd be a dot right there. And the first part would be the name of the table, and the second part would be the name of the field, right? Again, it's got an SQL fill to it. It's got an SQL structure, right? And all you gotta do is hit enter. So it's total revenue equals sum, store source files, bracket net revenue, and then close. And notice what it does with the parentheses. It shows you that the parentheses are closed properly, right? All right, we're gonna create another measure. So we're gonna click a new measure up here. And this one's gonna be total cost of goods sold. So we're gonna type total cost of goods sold, COGS. What do you think this one's gonna be?
Some
Right?
cogs.
Some cogs, right? Some cogs. But some cogs. See that? And when you type cogs, just double click on the one field that's remaining. And
So I
notice
guess
the parentheses are matched up, right? Oh, the parentheses and brackets are matched up by Power BI, kind of like what Python does.
So if I'm following the difference between like this and Tableau, like if you were to import this into Tableau, Tableau basically creates that aggregation already. It's going to pull in like the cost of goods sold and say, this is a measure. This looks like something that's going to be measured. And then when you start visualizing it, it does the aggregation for you.
Yeah.
Power BI, you have to create the measure beforehand. Is that right?
Yeah. What I can do is I can give you a Tableau. I can give you a Tableau worksheet or instruction sheet. And you can convert the Power BI if you want on your own in Tableau. Maybe I can do that as an assignment, right? So you can compare the difference, apples to apples, do it in Power BI Desktop, and then do it in Tableau, right? I can do that. Maybe I'll do that over the weekend. I'll give you both. Because I have one where you're doing airport data. I have one where you create a dashboard based on average airfare and city of destination and city of origin. It's gonna be pretty cool. You're gonna do 2 maps. It's gonna be pretty slick, I think. I mean, I was working on that today earlier, so I'm a little ahead on next week's homework. Okay, notice we have total cost of goods sold over here as a measure, total revenue as a measure, and then we have type of sale there as a column, right? As a column. Now we need another new measure. This measure is gonna be gross margin, or you can call it gross profit too. We're going to call it gross profit. And here, what is gross profit? It's total revenue minus total cost of goods sold, right? So just type a total, right? And then we'll click on the total cost of goods sold, and then minus, in front of total cost of goods sold, put a minus. And then between the equal and the minus, type total, like totally. You guys remember Bender from Breakfast Club? Totally. So total revenue, you guys seen Breakfast Club? It's good, right? It's still a good movie. It's crazy how good it is. Whereas Happy Days is, Happy Days only works if you're 8 to 10 years old. Okay, so we hit enter, right? And we get a new measure. Okay, gross profit. Now we're going to do gross profit percentage. So we want another new measure. And we're going to call this one gross profit percentage. Okay. And this is going to be gross profit as a percent of revenue. You could do gross profit as a percent of cost of goods sold, but we're going to do gross profit, and it's going to give you that bracket, right? And then we're going to divide it by total revenue. Total revenue. Everybody got that? And hit enter. Okay. We're done with all of our measures. Now we can create our dashboard. All right. What you may want to do is the easiest way to double check the data types is make sure the properties is open. There we go. Okay. And then what you can do is you can click on cost of goods sold, and you want to make sure it is fixed decimal currency. See that? Fixed decimal currency. Date should be date. Net revenue should be fixed decimal currency. Payment type should be text. Product should be text. State should be text. Store zip code should be text. Type of sale should be text. Units should be whole number. Gross profit should be currency. Gross profit percentage should be percentage. Okay, see that? Gross profit percentage. Okay. And then total cost of goods sold should be currency. It is. Oh, by the way, let's just make the decimal places 2 as well. It's in auto. It'll mess up our averages. Total revenue should be currency, but change the decimal places to 2. Okay, so real quick on the numbered ones, cost of goods sold, currency, change that to 2 decimal places. Net revenue, currency, 2 decimal places. And then we got gross profit. We'll do 2 decimal places. Gross profit percentage, we'll do two decimal places. Total cost of goods sold, 2 decimal places, and total revenue, 2 decimal places. That'll create a nice clean dashboard. Okay. And then click on managers to make sure it's text and text. Okay, we're good. Now we can build the dashboard. We all good? All good? Did I lose anybody? Did I go too fast? I'm like Forrest Gump. I'm pretty tired. Jenna and I were like peas and carrots. Jenna, I'm tired. Dude, what do you have to say about running across the country? Tired? All right, we all good on the model and the data types? Now you want to click on this area here. I need to make this bigger so you can see it better. So I'm gonna minimize all that stuff. Okay.
You can get rid of your chat box as well, maybe.
I don't think I have the chat box open, do I?
Oh, maybe it's mine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hee.
Okay, so you want to click on the bar graph right here. It says report. You want to click on that. And you see visualizations over here. You got all your fields over here, right? And so what you want to do is, all you do is you click. So the first one, look for the globe that says map. Okay, and you can make it bigger if you want. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put in gross profit. Not gross profit percentage, but gross profit. We're going to click on gross profit. Okay. And then we're going to click on zip code. Pretty slick, huh? See how big the circles are? This must be the Mexican American consulate, right? This is a made up data set. So the guy that made up this data set was really creative in how much data he created. I mean, it's a massive state files, right? Well, that was cool, right? The next thing we want to do, and then notice we can zoom in. Check that out. We can zoom in on Seattle. Pretty slick, huh? And we see our stores and which ones are really producing some gross profit. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to click on a line and stack column chart, or a line and clustered column chart.
So if my dots are not different sizes, what would be the error?
Did you click on gross profit, or did you click on gross profit percentage?
Gross profit.
And then zip codes?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the model and click on managers. Make sure they're text. The zip codes are text. Make sure the data type is text for store zip codes.
The one on managers is in text.
Are they both in text?
And in the source files, that one's text as well.
Huh. Okay, you have to share your desktop with me.
And gross profit is currency.
Okay.
Right. I have too many screens.
I'm gonna request remote control.
Wait, I think I need a, I thought I selected the right screen. I have too many.
Oh, it should be the top left.
Yeah, it's my third screen. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Yep.
Oh, okay. Just looks like it's on my screen 2 instead of 3.
Text. And store zip code text. Okay, so we'll go to tables. Some gross profit divided by gross. Okay. And then gross profit, total revenue minus total cost of goods sold. Okay, that all looks good.
Oh,
There it goes.
it works for you.
Yeah, sometimes got to jiggle it. Have you guys seen Opportunity Knocks? Got to jiggle it.
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
Dana Carvey, he's amazing.
oh, he's so funny. I saw him in concert at Washington State University. I couldn't stop laughing the entire time. He was so funny. Okay, so we're all good, right? Okay. So there's one. Now you want to click on, you want to make sure when you do this that you click in the white area, right? You don't want to double click though. Click once in the white area. If you click here and then you click over here, you'll change it. See? You'll change it. But you can go back. There you go. So it's highlighted, so just click once in the canvas. And then we're going to click on line and clustered column chart. And I'm going to move it over here. And what I want to do here is I want to do gross profit percentage, and I want to do by payment type. Okay, so what are these little bars here? Why are these little bars here so small and these are so big? Well, these are in decimals, right? Tiny decimals, and these are millions of dollars. So what we want to do is go over here to gross profit percentage and then just drag it down to line values. See that? So should we worry about gross profit or gross profit percentage? You usually want to put things in relative terms, right? So your biggest gross profit is Visa sales, but your highest margins as a percentage are cash sales, which probably makes sense because cash is what?
King.
You make more money on cash sales, right? I think you make about 3%, 1.5 to 2%, 3% more on cash sales because you have to pay these, the vendor has to pay the fee to Visa, right? You have to pay these fees to Visa. Okay. Now we're going to make the same chart right below it.
Sorry, can you show me how you switched the profit percentage to the line graph? Missed that step.
So if you click on the chart here, notice payment type is the axis, right?
Yep.
Gross profit is column values, and gross profit percentage, when you checked it, was put in column values.
Mm-hmm.
So all you do is you click on gross profit and you drag it down to line values.
Ah, cool.
And this creates two axes, a right axis at percentages and a left axis at millions of dollars of revenue, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool, awesome. And then over here, we want to do the same chart. So we're going to click gross profit percentage. And then this time we're going to do product type. See that? Product type. And here we want to, again, drag gross profit down to line values. Okay. So our most profitable product as a percentage is the Aspen product. Our most profitable product overall in terms of dollars is Quad. Okay. What else do we want to do? We want to do managers. So we're going to do a stack bar chart, or we can do a stack bar chart. And then I'm going to click on the manager's name. And then I'm going to click on gross profit. Check that out. We can see who our most profitable manager is, right? And if we check this out, if we click on this bar, what's going to happen? It's going to zoom in to where her store is. Her store is in South Seattle, right? And the dark blue bars are her relative to the company. See that? Pretty slick, huh? And her highest margins in terms of payment type are American Express, right? Slick. What do you think of that? Pretty cool. And then you can just click on the bar to change it back. Okay, let me go to my instructions real quick and see what other things we want to do. So we got that. We got that. I guess now what we want to do is we want to do some tables and some slicers. So we're going to do a slicer. Anybody know what a slicer is? So click in the white area. The slicer has a margarita glass. And here you want to just do state. Okay, and this will allow you to do a state analysis, right? So if I click on Nevada, what the heck is this right here? I actually checked out the zip code, and it must be a Burning Man store location, because the town is like 2,500 people. I think the zip code, Reno zip code, was reassigned out here, right? So we have to probably move that to Reno. We have to change the 89419 zip code, right? We could actually do that. So it's probably a Reno. So you can think of this as a mistake by the store manager. They probably put in the wrong zip code, right? So you have to go in and fix that. We can fix it later if we want. Now we can also do another slicer. We could do a slicer on type of sale, right? So we got retail or wholesale, right? California, Arizona, right? Is there another slicer we could do? We don't need to do payment type and product type because we already have that broken up right here, right? We could do, well, we don't want to do units because we have type of sale. So I think that's it for, we could do date.
Yeah, date would be interesting.
Yeah. We can see how things change over time. So we'll click on date. And this will give you a slider, see? It'll give you a slider. So it gives you the start and end periods, right? Okay, what else can we do? We're going to do some, we're going to do a couple different types of multi-row cards. Okay, in this multi-row card, we're going to click on the ones with a summation symbol. So cost of goods sold and units and type of sale. Okay. We don't want type of sale. That's a text. We also want net revenue. So here we're doing the ones with the summation symbol, right? You see that? What if we could do product type? Oh, that breaks it down by product type. Well, we don't want that because we could filter that right here. So okay, that's good right there, right? Now notice if we drop down here, we can do the average, the minimum, the maximum, standard deviation, the variance, the median, right? So what we can do here is we can create 3 of these. Instead of units, remove field. I'm gonna remove net revenue, or I'm gonna change this to net revenue, or total revenue, or revenue, right? Net revenue. I'm gonna get rid of the cost of goods sold. Then I'm gonna drag, because I can do averages here. I'm gonna drag a bunch of these over. With columns, you can do summary statistics. So the first one's gonna be the average. The next one's gonna be the median to see if it's heavily skewed. The next one's gonna be the standard deviation. And then the next one's gonna be the minimum and the maximum. So the last 3 give you a feel for the variation in the data. And the first 2 give you a feel for the skew in the data, right? So it's heavily skewed, isn't it? Average net revenue and median net revenue are wildly different, right? And then I can do another, I can click here and I can do another multi-row card. And this time I'm going to do cost of goods sold column. Not the measure, right? Not the measure, but the column. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to drag this out 5 times. Then I'm going to click the average, the median. I'm going to do the standard deviation, and then the min and the max. Okay. So look at the cost of goods sold, the variation there, 0.95 to 456. Standard deviation is quite large, 59.79. And then the min to the max here is 495 to 535. And the standard deviation is even bigger. Standard deviation of net revenue is bigger than the standard deviation of cost of goods sold. So we're probably inviting competition to come in, right? Then I could do one last multi-row card. And this one I'm gonna do units. And I'm gonna drag units there a few times. I'm running out of room, so I'll just do I'll do the average. I'll do the median, and then I'll do the max and the min. I'm out of room. I'll get rid of the median. Okay, well, that's fine. I can just do that. This is just units, right? That's fine. Okay, now I'm gonna do a multi-row card on the measures, right? I'm gonna do a multi-row card on the measures. And this time I'm gonna click just the measures. Gross profit percentage, total revenue, and total cost of goods sold. Okay. So these are the measures. What's the difference between a measure in that card? If I do sum instead of average, notice that if I do sum here, I don't want to do sum here, right? Or I don't want to just do net revenue, right? Which is the sum. Because that's the same thing as that value. See? So what I want to do is I want to do the average there. Okay, so what this is the total revenue, right? Divided by the number sold, right? Okay. That's our dashboard. And you can play around with it and see how it changes. Can you imagine having to do a presentation for your boss and then just taking screenshots of this dashboard, put that in a PowerPoint? Or you can publish it to a website. You can also publish it to a website, right? You can publish it to Power BI and then share it with everybody in your business, right? So that's a dashboard where we make the table longer, right? Now we're gonna do the dashboard where we make it wider. You guys want to take a break or you want to just go? You want to make sure you save it, right? Any questions on that? Pretty slick, right? And you can just kind of play around with it. All right. So that summarizes a lot of analytics in business. Now, the thing is, if you're a specialist in building Power BI dashboards, you probably want to be a contractor. Why?
Pay you more.
Well, that, and if you get hired to build Power BI dashboards at your job, what's going to happen when you build all the dashboards?
You have to maintain them too.
Yeah, I mean, you have to maintain them, but
It'll become property of the company.
yeah, I think in the end, you might put yourself out of a job if all you do is build dashboards, because you have all these dashboards built. And then, I mean, as long as the source files don't get polluted, right? They're probably pretty self-sufficient, I would think, right?
I'm going 3 years strong doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many different dashboards have you built?
So the nice thing is I don't just do dashboards. We do low code automation also within.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's kind of, it's both, but I've probably built half dozen that, and we're constantly adding new data elements to them.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, you can add pages to this one, right?
Yeah.
So you can have a multi-page one.
But I mean, as we roll out new products, new processes come online, there's constantly new data that they're wanting analyzed.
Yeah, cool, awesome. So you're not outsourcing. It's good to have that private sector input.
Yeah.
Because I can actually see data scientists eventually creating so much AI that maybe the AI eventually maintains itself. But I think
We're
they're
ways from
always
it.
going to have to have a human involved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're always going to have to have human involved. We can't even imagine what the jobs will be like in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be conversing with the AI and telling it what to do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll have to enter the matrix to talk to it.
Matrix, by the way, is my favorite one of my favorite movies of all time. But Matrix 2 and 3 ruined it.
Yes.
Don't watch 2 and 3 because you realize, well, why didn't the machines just build solar panels above the pollution? So don't watch
Number
2 and 3. Don't watch 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Watch
so we're done
number
with that
4?
dashboard. Any questions with that one?